10 miles away. But yeah, you sound great. So what's going on in the SDR world? What else is new, Doug? Go ahead.
Hello, Doug.
Hey, Rick. How you doing? Nothing's really new. As far as the radio is concerned, the only thing new is this microphone, which you already heard me on, Ron. It's the RE27. It's just EQ'd a little different than my other profile. I'm loving it. I think it sounds great from the recordings that I've heard. But no, everything else is the same. Let's see what I do today. Beautiful day. I laid out. My wife and daughter were gone most of the day. So it was just me and the boy. I got nice and sunburnt. I laid out at the pool like all day. I smoked a cigar. We just went out to dinner. We came back. I smoked a mini cigar. And now I'm going to be on the radio a little bit. I've got the live stream going. So if you guys want to check out your audio anytime, I got that going. And you could watch it back later. You don't have to watch it now. But yeah, everything's good. KB2 UKA. Go ahead, Ron, pick it up and pass it to Rick.
Yeah, that's great, Doug. Definitely going to check that out. Yeah, the RE27 sounds absolutely top-notch. It's not going to get any better than that. Great microphone, great audio. You got it tuned just right. Yeah, I'll do that. Great. I do not have my internet on this computer down here, but later in the evening I will be going upstairs where I do have the internet connected. Oops, I just heard a click here. I don't know what that was. 1, 2. Am I still getting power? Yeah. That was. Oh boy.
Did you get the foot bath yet?
I got to turn the amp off. Stand by.
Your modulation sounds different also, so something's going on, Ron. No, Chris. I think it comes on Tuesday.
Stand by. Well, lots of problems here.
Okay.
Here we go.
All right. Anyway, KZ2N, listen.
Here. Oh, boy. All right, so at least you got some of my audio on the recording. I think I lost half the voltage on my amplifier. I heard a click, and then the next thing I knew, I only had about 600 volts instead of 1,200, so something went.
Well, whatever happened, it screwed up your modulation, and now it's okay. It sounds okay now. It sounds like it sounded when I first came on. So what do you think? You think you lost something in the amp?
Yeah, something in the power supply. I don't know if there's a voltage doubler in there or what, but yeah, it's definitely the power supply. I was watching the voltage as I was talking. It dropped to about 600 or 700 volts, and it was jumping all over the place when I was modulating. That's why, of course, I was probably in the Class C mode or something like that. That's why the audio was all screwed up. Oh, great. So now I got a problem with the amplifier. All right. Hey, Rick, are you back?
Yeah, I am, albeit briefly, but that's okay. I think Chris dropped by, too, so hello to Chris. And yeah, I'm going to be running back and forth to the grill. Anyhow, we got this swordfish thing going. I'm just waiting for it to come up to 500 degrees, and then I got to back it down, and it'll be pretty quick, probably about 10, 12 minutes. So anyhow, great to hear you guys. The RE27 sounds wonderful. Exemplary microphone, there's no doubt about it, and one of the great attributes about it too is the quality that you get out of it. You don't have to spend an arm and a leg either. Like the Neumanns, the U87s, and others, and what have you. No, it's good old standby. You sound great, Doug. So, just want to say hello to you. And I was in here yesterday, and no takers. The frequency was void of any life, dead or alive, terrestrial or extraterrestrial. Any usual or unusual suspects were totally voided on the frequency. So I kept calling in for about an hour to no avail, but it's good to hear some people here. All right, I'm going, I better get to the grill. and do my thing. So I guess I'll turn it over to you, Doug, and then over to Chris or whomever. WX2T. I'll be listening to you guys from afar. Over.
All right, Rick, Roger. Same thing last night. I came down here, probably around like 6 o'clock. I went to 44. No one answered, and then I ended up going up to 20 meters and calling CQ and working a little pile up for an hour. So that ended up being fun. 20's been real good right around like an hour or two before gray line and then all the way into the gray line. It's just been pretty darn good. Go ahead, Chris. KB2 UKA.
Yeah, likely story.
Mikey.
What's going on there, Doug and Rick? How's everybody today? 12 a.m.
Good, Mike. Good, Mike. Chris is in there. Ron's in there. Go ahead, Chris. Pick it up. Chris must have stepped away. Go ahead, Mike.
That was me.
Welcome back, Ron. Mike, you in there?
Yeah, go ahead there, Doug. 12 a.m.
All right, no. I was just saying Chris was there. He's not answering, so I was passing it over to you.
Oh, I didn't hear Chris at all. I just got here a short while ago.
All right, and Ron, you're back?
Yeah, I'm back, but I don't have the amp on. I switched it on again. It's only, it's half voltage, is about 700 volts instead of 1200. So I don't smell anything. I went right up to it. I don't smell anything. Something just snapped. So I'll have to look at the schematic and figure it out. But so I'm just running. I think I got this thing at 60 watts right now. I guess I should bring it up to 100. I keep the drive set at 100. It gives me 60 watts so that I don't accidentally overdrive the linear, because that's all I need to get 400 out. So I guess I'm doing 60 watts now.
Yeah, it sounds like you got a voltage doubler power supply and you lost the strength.
Video sounded like when the amp.
He's still talking. That's what he thinks is wrong with it, though.
It's getting near 6:30, and I think I'm going to dig into this amplifier a little later.
It was S9 here. Where'd he go?
I have the schematic. I've worked on this many times. So
He's still talking.
an old Ventron GLA 1000 amplifier. It uses 4 horizontal sweep tubes. So that's the story with that. Mike, you're coming in very strong. I usually don't hear you this strong. You're like 10 over 9 here. So I think you're hearing me on my just running 60 watts. So anyway, Doug, let me send it back to you. You could see if Chris is in there, but I'm going to sign clear. I'm going to get out of here, head on upstairs, and hopefully check out the amplifier tonight or tomorrow. So with that, I'll say 73, and we'll catch you next time. But you're sounding great without RE27. KB2 UKA and whoever else is in here. This is WB2 RON signing clear, 7-3.
Hey, Ron, before you go, listen to Mike real quick, but I think you're thinking the same thing. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I would say if you had the voltage doubler power supply, you may have lost the diode strength.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly what I said to Doug. It's, I don't smell anything. It's just half voltage. I did hear a snap in there, so that's my guess too, Mike. I'm pretty sure there's a doubler in there. It's not a very sophisticated amplifier. In fact, it's a very
I can't hear him.
amplifier. So
All right, I'll relay. Hold on.
we're going to get out of here, and we'll catch you next time. WB2RO1 is clear, and going QRT. Go ahead, Doug.
All right, 73, Ron. I'm sure it'll be an easy fix for you. You'll figure it out. Have a great night. Yeah, Mike, he said he doesn't smell anything, but he heard a snap, and as soon as he heard the snap, the voltage cut in half. So most likely that diode.
Yeah, I don't like that type of design myself.
Yep. All right, KB2 UKA. Anyone else on frequency? Chris, did you make it back?
And to UNL.
Gotta go. I got the dinner bell. 12 a.m. early today.
All right, Mike, I'll be around. Talk to you later. N2UNL, I got you light, brother. How you doing?
Yeah. Band's a little screwy, Doug, but we're in here. Just, the VAC was switched around the other day, but got it straightened out.
All right, yeah, well, you're 5859. I hear you fine. Yeah, that happens to the best of us, especially with VAC. Just when you think it's all perfect, boom.
Yeah, when you when I bring the 18 XR 18 online, and it's on the Thetis underneath where it says VAC1, it gets some a red and green twinkly light there. It twinkles for a while, then it goes away. Any idea what that's doing?
I believe that means you're having overflow issues. So when you see that light, you click it, and it should bring your overflows back to zero. And the way you'll know if you're having overflows with VAC, just go to your audio tab, and where you set up your ASIO driver and all that, and you'll see the overflows. Brian, give me 1 second. I just got to talk to my son. KB2 UKA.
Yeah, okay, Doug. N2UNL.
All right, I'm back. KB2 UKA. Yeah, so I think it's it's letting you know you have overflows.
Yeah, okay. Well, okay. We'll go with that.
So what I'm running right now, the driver's I get no overflows, but my whole Anon career I've had overflows. So when that little red and green box pops up under VAC, I just click it, and I think that resets it back to zero.
Yeah, I don't know how to reset it, but I bring it up on the audio tab, and it just says number 8 on it.
Yep. Okay. You bring it up on the audio tab. Overflow, it has a number 8.
To reset it, just selected to bring it back to 0. And I clicked it, it went back to 0, and as I'm talking, it's staying at 0 now.
All right, good. Yeah, so that's nothing. It gets hairy when they start getting out of hand and they get into the hundreds and they keep going up. That's usually when you're going to have a glitch.
Yeah, it only glitches when I first turn the XR online. When I power it up. That's it. The twinklies go away.
I would set up the XR before you open Thetis. Is that what you do?
No, I do it the other way. I first and then the XR. But I'll try it the other way, see if it makes a difference.
Yeah, try it the other way. I usually, even now, I get all the audio gear on, everything set up, the DAW opened, and then I open up Thetis.
Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, it's food for thought. We'll see how it makes out.
All right, good. You're 5 over now. How are you copying me?
I got about seven on you here. I'm struggling. I don't know what it is. It's just conditions over on my end.
Yeah, well, there's also I hear frying eggs on 80 meters. Something might be going on.
Yeah, could be. But Yeah, so you went out and enjoyed the pool today. Great. I went for a ride over to state of Vermont and looked at a boat and come back home and played with my old boat in the driveway here for a little bit and come in and thinking about having a little bite to eat.
Yeah, we went out and had a bite, but I'm hungry again. So I'm going to have to see what's going on upstairs in the refrigerator, see what we got. KB2 UKA.
Okay, Doug. I'll be right back. My son needs me to turn on his Wi-Fi or something. He's doing a report. I'll be back. NTO now.
All right, cool. I'll be hanging out here for a little. KB2 UKA. Anyone on frequency?
I'm soaking my feet right now, and it's very very soothing. What kind of amplifier did Ron have? What was he using?
I don't know, actually. All I know is that it does 400 watts, or at least he runs it at 400 because he said, yeah, I think it's a 400 watt amp. I don't know. I guess we'll find out next time we talk to him.
Oh, did he sign off?
Yeah, he's gone. He's gone. I think he's going to go try to repair the amp. I'm reading this right now. Thousands of anti-Israel protesters show up at White House. Oh my God, and did you hear about the Trump trial?
Wait a minute. What are you talking about?
I spoke about two things. Let's talk about the important one first. The Trump trial. Did you hear what happened with where he was just convicted? The new news.
Oh, no, I didn't hear. What's the new news?
I think we're going to have a mistrial. I will read you. And this isn't BS either. This is all, this is factual. So on the courthouse's Facebook page or their web page, one of the cousins of the jurors posted days before they even went into deliberation that he wanted to thank his cousin for telling him that it's going to be a guilty vote. And they announced this before the evidence was even fully presented to them. Judge Merchan, who I don't like, had no choice but to send a letter to the Trump's defense saying today the court became aware of a comment that was posted on the Unified Court System's public Facebook page, in which I now bring to your attention. In the comment, the user, Michael Anderson, states, "My cousin is a juror and says Trump is getting convicted. Thank you, folks, for all your hard work." The comment was posted on May 29th regarding oral arguments in the 4th Department of the Appellate Division unrelated to this proceeding. But May 29th was days before they got the case. So they can't say publicly that he's going to be convicted. And he can't talk to anybody, including his cousin, that they're going to convict Trump because the evidence isn't done being handed to them. They're going to mistrial it.
Oh, okay. What's the other news?
Oh, that I just read. Thousands of anti-Israel protesters are marching on the White House right now.
Oh, okay. No, it couldn't happen to nicer folks.
Oh, gosh. So I think is tonight or was it last night? The last Pat Sajak Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, he won't be missed.
Oh, you're very cynical tonight, Chris.
Yep, and that ugly wench. I mean, how long are they going to keep Vanna there? I mean, she needs to be replaced too.
I heard she was very, very emotional the other night. I don't even watch regular TV anymore. Shows like that. I'm watching, it's all Netflix or documentaries or any of that stuff.
Yeah, I don't watch television. I just finished Lost. You know what I mean? I'm going back to the good. I mean, I don't know if you ever watched that Lost series back a few years back or years back, but man, that was very good.
No, Lost is one I never watched, and unfortunately, I read weirdly enough, the ending popped up on Facebook for me like 3 weeks ago, and it wasn't even like, it was just something I started reading, and boom, like the fourth sentence gave the ending away.
Nah. Don't even worry about it. I mean, it's 6 seasons, and
it's going to be whenever they get to it. So okay on that.
And,
what else?
It's a very, very complex show. But yeah, I don't know where. Like I got it, but I don't know where you get it. I guess. I don't know. I really don't. I mean, maybe it might be available on the ABC website or whatever, but it was definitely one of the better things that I've watched for sure. KZ2N.
Yeah.
All right, who do we got? Who just joined?
The one, the only, the Tower of Power, the man wearing Scooby-Doo pajamas in my mother's basement, 15 miles south of Boston.
Well, Dave, live from Fort Salonga, New York, you are sounding absolutely marvelous. I got the live stream on for you too, Dave. You could hear how good you're sounding.
I'm just finishing up dinner here. It's almost done. Made myself, made the family chicken cordon bleu tonight, homemade. We seem to love it. We do it like once a week. But this time I made homemade cheese sauce for it. And with a little bite of Dijon mustard in it. Ooh, it's good.
Oh, I love me some good chicken cordon bleu. I haven't had that in a long, long time.
Oh, yeah, we put a bunch of different cheeses in it, even Philadelphia cheese. We freeze them, and then we bread them, and then we brown them, and then we cook them in the oven. Then we freeze them again, and then we put them in the oven, and that's pretty much what we're doing now. Then I made like a nice cheese toss to kind of drizzle on top of them. A little parsley, mashed potatoes, and some corn.
Well, that just sounds absolutely delicious. KB2UKA. Go ahead, Chris. Pick it up with Dave.
What's up there, David? Man, I haven't talked to you in so long.
It seems like days.
So I'm looking at your audio here, Dave. Where is your high cut on the transmit bandwidth?
45.
So 40, 45?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird because I am listening 40-20 high, well, low technically because we're on lower sideband, 40-20 low and -20 high, but you're not going all the way to the end of my filter. So I thought you were like 3,900 high.
Almost 3,850, something like that.
Oh, that's what I meant. That number.
Yeah, 3,850.
Yes, that's the low. I called it the high because I forgot we were on lower sideband. Yeah, okay, good. I'm not going crazy.
Yeah, that's where I usually normally run it, just under, and I seem to get the best performance like that too. Few things that I found when I run 4, especially with the solid state amplifiers, they tend to act a little finicky at 4. Especially with the auto tuner and everything. So that right there everything seems to run beautiful together. It's like everything just kind of boils itself there, right?
Well, your observation is correct with the amplifier. So I run 40-40. So on 40 low and then 40-40. Okay, let me say the right thing. 40-40 low and 40 high. And the narrower the bandwidth, the better the amplifier responds. So that might be a good little trick there, running it right under 4K.
Yeah, I mean you still get that 4K sound, but you're not do killing it.
Very good, very good. KB2 UKA.
Okay, I'll be back here in a minute. I'm gonna go stir the potatoes and start feeding these knuckleheads, and I'll be back in a little bit. Hopefully you guys will still be here, and we'll fill up the frequency here. So good evening, Doug and Chris and all my listeners.
All right, Dave, come on back. Get everyone fed. I should be here a little while. Take care. We'll see you in a little bit. All right, Chris, what are you on? 15 minutes now at the foot bath or 20?
Probably 60 by this one. Wait, it should be going off here. I set the timer. Well, it automatically sets for 60, so it should be going off here in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, well, my Epsom salt. Oh, my God. I'm freaking. Listen, we're talking about foot baths and Epsom salt, Chris. We should be talking about blondes and brunettes. But my Epsom salt, the tea tree oil stuff, that arrived today. It arrived.
Oh, yeah. I just got a new bag of it. I finished the whole bag. With the amount of water that I put it, when you get your foot bath, you'll see inside the bath, if you look at the picture, it has I guess the vents where it draws the water in for the shower part. You only have to cover your feet. You know what I mean? So the more water you put in, the more Epsom salt you have to put in, number one, and the heavier the damn thing is. I didn't put the wheels on because I didn't want it rolling away from me, as I'm putting my feet in. So you can I still have the wheels. They just snap in casters. I didn't put them in.
All right, yeah, I don't see why I don't think I want it rolling either. I'm going to use this thing on the deck. I'm going to use it in the family room. Hell, I might use it here in the shack.
Oh yeah, I use it here in the shack. Well, my shack is everything. I have a 65-inch TV, 3 43-inch monitors, so and my computer controls them all. I run a 4-monitor card, so. It's to be upstairs. I mean, I got TVs upstairs in the bedroom and stuff, but this is where the action is.
Yep, I have a 50-inch in here on the wall, which I have not turned on in God knows maybe 5 months. I need to do a little rearranging. I've got this rack, this Odyssey rack that holds all the rack gear that I only actually use 2 pieces of it. Well, 3. I've got it on the table to my right, which is blocking the TV that's mounted on the wall. So I got to do a little rearranging. And then I could get the TV going again. But yeah, it's, it's a great time of the year. Spend your days outside, spend your evenings in front of the nice glow of the computer screen. And the glow of the tubes in the Bellari preamp.
Nice. Hey, I got to run upstairs for a minute. KZ2N. I'll be back.
All right, this is KB2 UKA. I'm just going to be hanging out here, listening. All right, who's watching the YouTube channel? I see there's 4 of you. Why don't you start typing in the comments? If I can't talk on the radio, I'll talk to you guys. Let's go. Ooh, we have a 5th
What the
viewer.
heck is going on out there?
Oh my God, Richie, where have you been all my life? Good to hear you, brother. And nice video you did the other day.
Oh, thank you, Doug. I appreciate it. I'm learning. I'm not that good at them yet, but I'm getting the hang of it. I got a phone. It's not an iPhone, nothing special, but sometimes it gets the color right, sometimes it don't, and sometimes I move it around too much. I got to get one of those tripods.
Yeah, I got all that crap here. I'm into a little bit of videography and all that stuff. I just never have time. I have to always say, do you want to make a cool video or do you want to get on the radio? And I always choose getting on the radio. You sounding real nice. What are you running tonight?
I'm running the Hermes Lite 2 with the Raspberry Pi 5 computer, SM58 in the road. And I think I got it. I don't think I can get it better than this. This is about as good as I'm going to get this set up. Maybe slightly, I don't know. There's not much more I could do. I can't hear it.
Go to my YouTube channel. I'm live right now. Not only do you sound great, the audio spectrum, I'm zoomed in. It's so balanced. It sounds wonderful and it looks great.
That's some mighty kind words. I wasn't expecting anything like that. Doug, it's Raspberry Pi, the Raspberry Pi operating system too. And it's the $60 computer, only the 4 gig Pi 5. But what I did learn though is that the Pi software over the older 32-bit Bullseye, it doesn't recognize the audio interfaces. So they made some improvements to the newer version, and it recognizes the road. I don't have any drivers, any software, nothing. So I'm a little happy, and it plays. I get a separate stereo channel for RX1 and a separate stereo channel for RX2. It's amazing.
Well, it's sounding real good. Nice and crisp, well balanced. I see the dip at like, I guess 300 to 500 hertz, somewhere in that range. And you zeroed it in, Richie. You zeroed it in. It sounds great.
And they put a recorder. I had Christopher put a recorder in. So I got a couple things out of them. I found the fix. There was a major fix with the DSP filter on RX2 that, if you increase the size, it wouldn't decrease. And then you would have 2 different filters. And when you do that, when you don't make the DSP filters the same, you make changes on the radio. It takes like forever for it to change. Well, all that's done now. And nobody caught that. I'm the only one that really caught that because I'm the only guy that likes using the 2 RXs all the time. and he fixed it. So it never worked, not even from the original programmer. All these years, it never worked. It was a major fix. And he gave us capture, so I can record and play back. And it shuts the EQs off on receive, on transmit, does it like Thetis. So that's pretty cool. And he gave me the 6-band EQ. I wish I had at least an 8. I was going to get the 10, and this other gentleman out there, he was jumping up and down. He don't want it. It's going to open up audio ports, and he doesn't want it that wide. And it total nonsense. He didn't have to use it. He could have set it for 0. He could have used a 3-bander or a 4-bander and never even enabled the rest. But this is what you got to deal with. I asked for an FPS monitor on the Pi, and the programmer told me he doesn't understand the purpose of it. Why? Well, he didn't want to do it. I figured it'd be an easy thing. It's in the WDSP file that we're using right now for the EQ and everything, and the frames per second, just a little thing on the screen somewhere, just to indicate, is so important nobody can comprehend it. Especially with the Raspberry Pi. Not so much with the Thetis with the computers, because most computers will hit 60 frames per second without any trouble at all. But when you're running Pi 4s and Pi 5s, well, you want to increase the frame rate until where you see it doesn't increase no more. And if you go beyond that, what happens is it starts lagging the Pi computer. So you don't want to do that. So you want to find the maximum and then back it off like 5 frames and leave it there. And I can't seem to convince the guy why I need it. But so I've been doing it by eye, looking for the lag and finding a sweet spot. That's it. Anyway, KB2, UKA, I don't want to bore you with this stuff. KC2Z, you are.
No, man, it's not boring at all. It's not boring at all. I like that you're into it. It's great. It's great because you've got multiple options there. I'm waiting for this Italian SDR, more info to drop. I think 3rd week to the 4th week of June. What is that? The OLSDR. They're going to the largest ham fest in Europe. It's basically Europe's Dayton. I could actually look up when that is. And they're going to be releasing all the specifics on it and the pre-order process and the price and all that fun stuff. So as far as radios are concerned, I'm good with my 7000, but I'm looking forward to see what this other thing could do. And to be honest with you, what's really attracting me to it is their modified version of Thetis. It looks very, very user comprehensive. So I'm looking forward to learning more about it.
What computer? Is there a computer in the radio? I think I looked it up already. You mentioned it to me about a week ago. I did look it up at work. I glanced at it. I wasn't overly, impressed right away. But yeah, he changed the GUI, the graphics a little bit, and I don't know if he changed any of the features. But it seems like he's got a built-in computer. What is he using? A Raspberry Pi, i7, i9, i5? What the heck are they using?
I don't know yet. And I think we looked at the photos and I thought we saw a Pi. Maybe let's see if they've updated the website, because they're getting close to announcing it. OLSDR. Where are his specs? Rear panel. Here are some of the key features. Yeah, I don't think they mention the computer. High stability temperature. I don't. Could they not have a computer? They could not have a computer in it.
No, they would need computer to run that software because it's on the screen on the radio. They're doing it. So I believe that it has a built-in computer. Now I know Thetis is not programmed for, well, at least to my knowledge. I don't know if anybody's been working on it. I requested it. I requested a Linux version of Thetis when I talked to Reed. I emailed Reed. About several things. I emailed Richie about several things. I'm trying to get them to put another multi-RX, like we have multi-RX and we have multi-notch, manual notch on RX1. I want that on RX2 as well, so I can listen to 4 different stations. Reason being is when I'm on AM, I talk with my friends on 1 AM frequency, and I'm listening to the big boys on the other AM frequency, and I need that. And then I got on the other VFO, I'll have 2 different sideband groups, like we got 44, 54. I always have 2 groups that I listen to because my friends are on both, and there's too many people to share one. So at this point, I'm trained. I've been listening to 3 RXs. My ears are trained, and I got pretty good at it. In the beginning, it's impossible. You go, oh man, it's just noise, and then you start setting different volume levels for each receive, so that you know this one is the way background. But once your mind is open to it and you've been doing it for a while, it's like walking into a subway platform and listening to 6 conversations going on at the same time. You actually train yourself to do that, and you could comprehend the 6 different conversations. So I need one more, 4. For 2 AM and 2 sidebands, or 4 sidebands. I don't think I'll need 4 AMs. There's not that many AMs yet. But that's about it. And I could switch bands, one on RX1, because, if you do the 2 RXs, it's got to be on the same band. Whatever the VFO is, it's going to be the same mode. And so, that was another thing. You can't put AM on RX where you're listening to sideband, because it's got to be the same mode for the multi-RX. So I asked for the second multi-RX in RX2, and I asked them for the manual multi-notch in the RX2. Will they deliver? I don't know, but it was an email I sent them.
Well, they seem to be accommodating some of your requests, so I'd keep your hopes up. Richie, this radio doesn't have a screen that I'm talking about. And while you were talking, I was listening to you. There's no computer in the radio, but I'm reading this right here, what they did with the software. Intelligence Split opens up to 4 independent windows on 4 different shortwave spectrum portions. Activates a secondary receiver within each window. Select the frequency of any receiver or subreceiver as a transmit frequency with a single click. I'm reading all the features that they changed around Thetis. Yeah, there's no screen. You might be thinking of a different radio. This is the one that looks very military. It's got the 2 fans in the front.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that one. I've seen that one too. There's another one with the screen. I've seen that one too, Doug. Yes, it looks like 2 speakers or fan screens. It looks like a big power supply. It's black. I've seen that one, yes. Well, you know what? That's Flex Radio. If they're doing slices like that, that's probably some guys in Flex breaking off to a different division.
Well, no, these are all Italians. They're all Italian. And I kind of like that, because I emailed Richie that if there's any way in all the work he does, if he could get multiple slices on Thetis, I think that's a cool feature to have. And I think you would like that for the way you say you like to listen in and you want 4. Well, this thing will do it. Yeah, here, pure signal, adaptive pre-distortion, developed by Warren Pratt, NR0V. Yeah, of course it's got that, because it's using Thetis. It's a real... So, 15-watt output. That should be just enough for me to get about 1,400 out of this VK amp without having to screw around with the pad. Right now, I am doing, hold on. Okay. Right now, I am doing 16.4 watts, and I'm getting like 1490. So 15 watts should give me like 1380, 1400.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's what I did with the G2. I got two Pi windows I could open up. One that boots up automatically and opens up, and then I could close that. I could use another icon to start the Pi, and it's a totally different configuration. Now I got most of them, programmed the same, so at any time I could pick a config. What I had to do was, because I'm using the Lux, well, I had to go in the PA, and for each band, I don't even go by the slider anymore. Now I just set full power for 20 watts max on each band, and that's it. And this way I can't make a mistake. I don't want to put more, and that's like the perfect power. 15 watts, like what you're saying, 20 watts max, maybe to hit 10 or 6 meters or something like that. One of those bands that needs more drive. But I think from like 20 meters to 160, 15 is like perfect.
Oh yeah. And if I want to be anal, I could probably. I'm assuming there's a 10 dB pad in here. I'd have to email Onder. I wouldn't drop it to a 3 dB pad. I'll blow up the amp. I could probably maybe drop it to a 6 dB, and then I'm definitely getting legal limit out with that radio.
Just drop it another 3 dB. That's it. And with a 15 watt radio. But I would leave it, being you're using the Anon, I'd leave it the way it is. And in fact, you could put a bigger pad in there, but no reason for that. As long as you go in the Anon, the PA, and I think maximum power is 40 watts. They set the ALC up on 20 meters for maximum power somewhere. That's how Mercury does it. I'm not sure how they do it with the VK amp, what the max drive is and all that, but you got to read it, and you could always go in the PA menu and just set your max power output and forget about it. I mean, it's not going to read, what the slider's going to read, because unless there's an output power, in other words, you could set it for 10 watts, 5 watts, 100 watts, 200 watts, depending on what the software can handle. If it's in the PA where you could, set it or change it to 50 watts, you could make the whole radio 50 watts, and no matter what you do, or 20 watts, and then it'll read pretty correct. You know what I'm saying, Doug?
Yeah, and I haven't done any of that, and I really should, because I've hit this damn thing once or twice with a 100-watt tune, forgetting to put it on bypass. It tripped immediately, but I really should do that. And then last night, I'm working a pile up on 20 meters. Everything's going beautiful. I'm done calling CQ on 20. I go up to 17. I put the amp in bypass. I tune on 17. I answer some guy in the Netherlands, and I look down, and I'm only getting 600 watts out. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then I look, I forgot to switch it to 17 meters. So it was putting output out on 17 meters while it was set to 20 meters. I think I only probably transmitted for about 10 seconds before I figured it out. But I guess because it was so close in frequency, it didn't trip.
Correct. Yeah, you got away with it. It's not optimal. Actually, 15 and 17 meters, I believe, share each other. 15 and 17. 20 and 30 share. But no harm there, Doug. The power was low enough. Whatever didn't dissipate. Just transformed into heat. But those boards are overkill.
Yeah, I figured it was fine. I was doing legal limit, and then when I didn't switch the band. It was doing 500 watts. So it cut it by in 2/3. I'm like, oh, crap. And then I just retuned and then switched it to 17 and everything was fine. All good, man. This technology's getting more condensed. It's all good. It's all good stuff. I think I'm done with the audio. I think I've hit a point where there is no other sound I could get out of 4 kilohertz. There's nothing else I could do. I can make a bassier profile, I can make a sharper profile, but as far as equipment, and there's just nothing else left. So I think the next step is, to build out 6 and 8K profiles and go where it's nice and clear and talk to guys doing that. Because that's the only way to get more fidelity is to stretch out the bandpass at this point.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And that's why, I got a microphone I got to pick out soon, coming up. And I'm still undecided. I'm still doing research. And, I want to know what the difference is between the U87 and, I can't test it over here. I got to get on the phone with the experts and a TLM 103. But the U87 is supposed to be better. But like you said, if it's better up around above 6, 8, 10,000, well, we don't talk that high. So what is the point? The RE27 gives you those nice crispy highs up to 6K, 6, 8K. And if you're going to stay in that range, that's the perfect mic. I mean, now how much more clarity will you get with the 103? Well, I don't know. I can't tell you. I never heard the difference. And I got the RE20, and I'm using, and right now I'm using the SM58, which is, it's not the greatest mic, but it's a studio go-to mic. It's not a bad mic. It's not the best mic. But it's better than putting a Heil mic on here. The RE20, yeah, it's more flatter response, better from my voice. I don't have the high voice anyway. I have that medium voice, which probably like you. So we don't get the super lows where the 103 will have more gain. It'll have more response down there with our voice, but it ain't gonna make us sound like Barry White or nothing like that. It'll just pick up that little bit more of the sound. And then as far as presence goes on the high end, well, and then again, it's kind of overkill if we're only going 4K, 6K. Where are we going with it? They're nice. They're nice in the studio. They're perfect. But on ham radio, we have restrictions. KB2 UKA, KC2ZUR.
KB2 UKA a minute before the 10. This RE27, I've had the TLM 103. I used it for 6 months and I sold it. Probably because I was only like a year into the audio and I wasn't EQing the proper way. It probably took me a good 2.5 years before I really knew what I was doing. So I'm like, this sounds all right. And I sold it. I've got, what else? I had a warm audio tube mic. That thing was gorgeous. I sold that. I did know what I was doing. But it was a dark mic, Richie. I think you remember when I had it. Very, very robust lows. And to your point, I'm a tenor, okay? Or maybe a Barry tenor. I'm not going to be able to reproduce the low end like N1 DRS. He's got a very, very low voice. Richie has a very, very low voice. So what you have to highlight the tonality of your own voice. And for me, that's probably in like the 2 to 4K range. That's where my energy is. So that's what I have to highlight. And I've got a KU5A ribbon mic here. I'm never going to sell it. I do love it. It's a great mic. But this RE27, You know, it's probably one of the cheaper mics I have. It's still $500, but you know how much the Neumanns are. And it does something to my high end that I'm not able to reproduce with any other mic.
WF1.
I think it's a great mic. I think, for all practical purposes, what we're doing, it's probably the perfect mic. That's it, hands down. But the other mics do have a little something to offer. Now that, I looked at the tube mics. I looked at the LT, the Luton LT 386s, which has the tube. But, it gives it that smooth, warm audio. But however, it's for a studio. It's not for a home environment. Unless you have padded walls, a padded room, a studio, you're setting up your room to be a studio room, and no traffic or anything like that, yeah, I'd go for it. It'll reproduce the sound. I mean, just like you sound in person, and most people don't want that. They don't want to sound like they sound in person. They want that extra enhancement. And I heard Dave. I heard him without the audio gear. He sounds like a regular guy, like me and you, believe it or not.
Yeah, I listen to AM radio in the car, and 1010 Win, 1010 Wins. They're on FM now. They're 92.3 FM. And there's a guy in the afternoon, and they have this guy EQ'd. He sounds like he's on Hammer. He sounds like we sound. Now, of course, he sounds a little better because they're on FM. But even on AM, what were they, 20 KY? I forgot what the bandwidth was. But they're EQ'd very, very similar to how we sound. And when he gets real low, it gets all crisp and crunchy and sounds good. There was another station in there. This is KB2 UKA. Go ahead. Well, right before you spoke, Richie, somebody gave their call, but I don't know where he went.
Back. Maybe they get called away, the wife or something. They'll come back. And, I think the AM stations are about 10 kilohertz, I think. And you know what? 4.4 develops pretty much all the audio you really want that fills the whole body, the majority of the power. 5 kilohertz wide, for average talking, that is the absolute widest sweet spot, and that's my opinion. That they may not necessarily be a fact, but I feel 5. You could deliver a good amount of energy within the 5, and get as much crispiness as you want, without all that airy hissing going on. Around 6 to 8.
Yes, yeah, because when I do build out a 6 or 8K, I end up cutting a lot up there because I don't like using de-essers. I think it puts a blanket on it that I don't like the sound of it. So I got to get rid of the sibilants, the annoying sibilants with EQ. And I end up cutting up there. And with an RE27, you're going to end up cutting up there.
Well, I don't know. I'm learning, so I have a lot more to learn. I'm only doing this now. I'm a rookie. I'm only maybe 6 months. The first 6 months I was just trying to get the software and the radio running right, let alone try to work on the sound. So I don't have much experience, and it takes years. Unless you go to, let's say, a school of audio, or you go to one of those technical schools, and you have a couple years in there where you really learn what it's really about and how they do it, the professionals do it in the real world. It could take somebody like me 10 years.
Oh yeah. Well, I didn't go to school for it, but I have obsessively watched hundreds of hours of basically recording studio school videos on YouTube. all the different types of compression, the way to use multiband compression, the way to use dynamic EQs. I have watched and listened with headphones on all the adjustments these guys make. And then I go sit in this room and I try to apply it to just a spoken voice over radio. Now, what's funny is there are not many YouTube videos on EQing for broadcast radio. There are some, but there are not a lot. So you got to take, let me talk about me. I had to take the fundamentals that I taught myself from watching these how-to videos and all these big home recording studio guys on how they apply it to music. And then I had to dumb it down to how to just apply it to the spoken voice that's going to be taking up a specific bandwidth of audio, a specific spectrum of audio. And I'll tell you, the light bulb went on when I learned, when it clicked to no longer boost in the EQ. And I do boost with a second EQ later on down the chain. But the first EQ, it's all cuts, all of it. And that really changed my sound to what I think made it sound the way I was really looking for it to sound.
With the first EQ, the mic EQ, you make all the cuts, no boosting. In the CFC, you could make the boost. You can compress the frequencies that you want, where you can enhance them. That is correct. And you're right about a lot of the videos. A lot of the videos are for like vocals, for singing, not so much broadcast like radio and things. But there's gonna be a lot more. It's getting real popular. This audio thing is taking off. Well, you know what it is. Look, even I'm getting into it, and I had no interest in it, so I'm getting into it. But I'm never gonna be major league or nothing like that. I just want to sound good. I just want a particular sound. Once I achieve it, that's it. I achieved it on the Thetis. I like it. That's all that matters. I don't care if anybody else likes it. This one here, it's not Thetis. I have a lot less to work with. But I just want to get it the best I can get it with what I have to work with. And this is the sound you're going to hear on a G2 standalone radio. You're listening to it right now. It's the same software.
Yeah, well, it sounds good, man. It sounds good. It's crisp. It's clear. There's fidelity to it. It really sounds good. And yeah, you and I have spoken about. I don't have any levels set in CFC. I have it turned on for about 1 dB, maybe 2 max on peaks of compression. I have it on a tiny bit. I'm doing all my multiband compression in the DAW. It's my last plugin in the DAW. And then my plating, I sidechain the virtualizer, the Behringer virtualizer. I've tried every single reverb plugin. I don't like any of them. This virtualizer, I think, is the best way to add reverb to our broadcast audio. So I have it sidechained on the mixer, and yeah. So I'm using a hybrid setup here. I've got an analog preamp, an analog noise gate, an analog compressor, and then then it routes over to the DAW. That's where I EQ. That's where I compress again. That's where I do my additive EQ, my Aphex exciter, and then my multiband compressor. And then the plating is sidechained, and then I turn CFC on just to give it a little broadband final kiss before it goes out into RF land.
Sound great, Doug. Really do. Here's your playback. I've been meaning to do it. And if I keep talking, I forget. But here it is.
So I think the next step is, to build out 6 and 8K profiles and go where it's nice and clear and talk to guys doing that. Because that's the only...
And that should be pretty good. He got this capture
What's up, Mikey?
option working really nice. And when it records, it turns off automatically any EQs for receive. And when it transmits, it turns off the transmit EQ. So you're just hearing what you sound like. No enhancements on my end whatsoever.
No, he did a good job. There's a little bit of artifact in it, a little more than Thetis, but it still sounds like me. It sounds like the recordings that I've listened to. The artifact adds something. It adds a little muddiness to the low end that I know is not really there, but it's pretty close, Rich.
I have his NR2. Let me see. I could shut that.
Oh, that might have been NR2. That could have been. So he's got an NR2 there in the Pi SDR. Oh no, you're on Thetis. I forgot.
No. I'm on Pi SDR. It has diversity. It has NR2. It has record capture 6-band EQ. It transmits 8K sideband, 16 AM, 16 double sideband. This is real. It's really nice. When I don't miss Thetis when I'm using this. I don't really miss Thetis. Thetis is better, yes, but I don't miss it. And when you realize this is the future, you know, when you start buying, there's going to be a lot more of these SDR radios, but it's going to be in the box. It's going to be that's you know, they're actually shrinking everything down, and you don't need the big computer anymore. They're going to put everything in one box like a radio, but it's going to be a real SDR radio. And the Pi computer is the big computer, and it just got better with the Pi 5. It got faster. There's another brand out there. It's got an 8-core, which you can put on the Pi 4, Pi 5 board, on the I/O board. They're getting a lot better. The processing power is now entering the realm where it's feasible.
Yeah, you're 100% right. That's the future, okay? And if the components are cheap for these guys, you've got, I think the super majority of hams are not you and me and all us Hermes and Anon guys. The super majority of hams are Yaesu and ICOM. And in order for a Yaesu and an ICOM guy to buy an SDR, he doesn't want a computer, okay? He wants a computer for his logging. He wants a computer for his QRZ, but he wants to control the radio from the radio. So they're going to put these Pi computers in them, like you just said. You're going to get a screen. You're going to get some knobs. You're going to get some buttons, but it's going to be 100% bona fide SDR. And my money is that ICOM is going to release their version of like a M series from Flex. You're going to have now, and don't get me wrong, you want to use the computer, you want to use the 32-inch computer monitor, no problem. HDMI output, keyboard, Bluetooth, hook it up right to the rig. You don't need any computer, but you'll be able to run the radio as its own computer. KB2 UKA.
What I do. That's what I do with the G3, and I do it with this setup now. The Apache Labs has the touchscreen built in, but it's DSI. It's on the DSI phase. It's not on the HDMI part of it. So there's two HDMI video outputs, and that's separate from the DSI display that's on the board as well. So you can hook up 3 monitors. DSI, which is the touch screen built in the radio, and then you could plug in 2 optional touch screen monitors through the HDMI, and then you have to plug in, for a USB, like a mouse touch on the screen, or you could just put regular monitors, keyboard, mouse, and so you could have 3 monitors. So it's now your logbook. It's now your radio software. It's your radio. It's everything all in one compact size.
WZ2P.
Oh, another Richie. WZ2P, what's up, brother?
Hey, Doug, Rich, how you guys doing? I just turned on a few minutes ago. Just wanted to say hi. I did some painting today. It's good to get on the radio. Pick it up, Doug.
All right, man. Well, welcome. Welcome. You're sounding good. It's just me and Rich, so it's the three of us. Sounding real good. Painting. Indoor or outdoor?
Indoor, and I hate it either way, but I probably wouldn't do outdoor. But, yeah, I was indoor, and
Yep, I hate painting. Absolutely hate it. I spent the day adding chemicals to my pool to get everything balanced, and I think I finally did it. My pH is perfect. My alka is perfect. I had uriatic acid buildup, but I put something in the skimmer that by tomorrow that should be gone. And last thing I got to do is just drop some shock in it tonight. And I what happened was we had a load of rain on Thursday. We had storms, and it added about 4 inches of water to the pool. So all that fresh water screwed everything up. I drained some water out. I shocked it that night, but I did nothing else. So when I woke up the next day, it wasn't cloudy, but it was starting. There was a slight green tint to it. So I had it's a pain in the ass when that happens. KB2 UKA ZUR, pick it up.
Hey, yeah. Hey, Rich. Good to hear you. Haven't talked to you in a dog's age. And painting, yeah, not one of my painting and spackling. I try to avoid it, but I will paint. Painting's not too bad. Spackling, I don't like at all.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother thing. Like you're talking about joint compounding, like sheetrock. Yeah. I would hire somebody to do that only because those guys that know how to do it, man, they make it look easy.
I'll be right back, guys. KB2 UKA.
Okay, Doug. Yeah, so you sounded good, Richie. What you got new going on? I usually leave you for a couple of weeks, and you've got all kinds of new stuff going on. What's new now?
Everything is new. So I'm using the Raspberry Pi 5. I'm using the Rode with the Raspberry Pi 5. Regular microphone, SM58, because I don't want to keep moving my RE20. It's on the Thetis setup. And that's about it. We operated on the G2 last weekend, and I put a new brain in it, and it turned out well. I upped it to 64-bit operating system, all the latest software, firmware, all updated, P2 app updated, Saturn tools updated. Everything's the latest and the greatest as of right now, and it works good. I'm happy. When you know me, I'm very picky. When I first got the radio, I was not happy. But it took about a year, right? 11 months to straighten it all out. And but I had to learn, how to do it. I had to learn Pi and Linux and all this garbage, which I didn't want to do. You know that. But I had no choice. What am I going to do? But I got the radio now working. It's working as it should.
Well, that's good that, ultimately the road ended up getting to the right spot, even though it was a longer route than you thought. And learning the Linux stuff, it is a bit of a pain. But as you realize, once you get the gist of, a handful of commands, and you understand it, and it sounds like you've been doing it, every other day or every day. And that's the thing. What's going to happen is eventually you're going to step away from it. You're going to come back months later and forget a lot of what you learned. But it is cool. And when I first did it a few years back, I was really good at it, but I was doing it like day in and day out, digging in deeper and deeper, and then I let it go, and it's weird. It just it doesn't, at least my brain, I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, I have a hard time retaining it, but it's good. And now you understand it, and if you need to do something, you're not so intimidated anymore, which is a great thing. It's a good education, man. So when you said you changed out the brain, was it software, or did you actually do something to the Raspberry Pi? Did you swap it inside the radio?
Raspberry Pi is gone. That's all I can say.
Okay. All right. I mean, was it a Pi in that thing, or some some custom computer in it coming out of the factory?
Oh, CM4 module was in there. Mine had I didn't have the SD card. On mine, they put the eMMC memory chip, so it did not use SD card, micro SD. The difference is it's much faster with the eMMC, to up to 250 megabytes per second transfer, where the SD card, I think the max is, depending on the card, I think you could reach about 190, 100 or 90 megabyte per second or whatever. So that was the only difference. But the Pi 4 is too slow, inadequate.
Yeah, I think the Pi 5 is a significant improvement over the 4. I mean, the 5 boots up almost like in a few seconds. You're up, man. It's pretty impressive, and I haven't done too much more with my 5. I mean, I've got the M2 slotted SSD on there. I think I got a 512 megabyte. Was it 512? Something like that, or 256. I forgot. It might have been a 256. And of course, it boots fast. Now I don't even have an SD card in it. It boots right from that SSD, and it boots very fast. And I got the radio running. I got on the air with it a couple of times. People said I sounded good, but it was just to make sure everything was working well, and it does. I haven't really done much more after that. So one day I will, and it's probably going to be like in the winter when things slow down. You'll notice in the summertime I'm a lot more active outside of radio, so I'm not as not as involved in the radio thing, but play a little more music out and stuff like that, which takes my time also. But yeah, you sounding good. Everything's good, even with that SM58, which is of course a good regular kind of microphone. You don't sound as good as your other mic, but it's very good.
Yeah, and considering I'm not using Thetis, I don't have all the EQs, I don't have anything, Windows Audio or nothing. So I actually was ready to give up. That's what I do. I get discouraged. I get a little frustrated, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe this thing's just not ready yet, or maybe the technology's not there. And but I just same thing with the Pure Signal. I didn't give up on that until it was solved.
W4NHJ.
W4NHJ, pick it up. WZ2P. You've got Rich here and the other Rich. We're both in New York. Pick it up.
WZ2P, W4NHJ. The handle's Frank, and I'm in Warrenton, Virginia. I've been listening to you guys for a while. I'm running a Hermes Light here into a little, it's supposed to be a 30 watts, about 15 watt amplifier, into a homebrew 3CX 1500. And just listening to you, I also have a Raspberry Pi and a Radio Berry. And I think you said you're using the Hermes and the Pi 5. Is that correct?
I am not, but Richie, the other Richie is. Rich, pick it up. I am running a Hermes, though, into a small, 100-watt amp, getting about 80 watts out. And Rich is running more power. He'll explain what he's got, but he's running the Pi. I'm running Thetis right now. Rich, pick it up.
Okay, it didn't matter, Rich. You have the Pi 5, too, when you run it with the Hermes. So, yeah, Frank, go ahead. I believe I spoke with you a couple times before there. Good evening. This is KC2Z. You are Rich in Long Island.
All right. I love the Hermes. It's really nice. I have a little trouble with the Radioberry though. It's low output, and I buy these little Chinese amplifiers, and for some reason, I think what they're doing is they're taking off. They're self-oscillating, and they destroy themselves.
I don't know much about the Radioberry. What I do know is it's like 20 milliwatts, I think, that you get out of the audio decoder. If I'm not mistaken, you need an amplifier that you can put 20 milliwatts in, and it'll give you 2 or 3, 4 or 5 watts out. And then you need the low pass filter board. You got to build on it. That's what you need to do. There is no amplifier in the Radioberry. It's just basically 20. I believe that's what it is. 20 milliwatts out. So you go to eBay. There's a couple of guys selling small broadbanded amplifiers that will produce 3 watts, I guess, from the 20 milliwatts. Only problem is, I don't know how you would drive that, because there's no control over that 20 milliwatts. I'm not quite sure, how in the Hermes Lite, they put that amplifier in there, and it's configured in a way so that the drive slider will adjust that output. So, but with the Radioberry, it's different. Also, depending on which Radioberry you get, the chips are different. So you have to, I think there's two versions or 3 versions now. So when you load up the software, you got to load up the correct version for the DSP chip in there.
Oh yeah. There's mostly 2 versions. It's the gated array chip that's different. I have as far as I know, the latest one, and there's I don't remember the number, but one ends in 16 and the other one in 25. This is the 25, and it has more memory in it, more transistors, I guess. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I have a Pi 4, and of course the Radioberry plugs right into it. And I have those little Chinese amplifiers, but they keep destroying themselves. And it seems like I just destroyed one yesterday. I didn't even have it hooked to the Radioberry, and I just touched the relay that I'm using, and it started going crazy, and boom, a final transistor went. So I think what it's doing is it's self-oscillating and destroying itself.
You need some negative feedback.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't even know how you would hook it up that way. I mean, you're using the SMA to go into the input of the Chinese amplifier, but you gotta remember, there's not enough drive there to even even make it work. 20 milliwatts. Mike, what is the Radioberry? See, that's why we didn't go with the Radioberry. The Radioberry,
50 milliwatts,
if you want a receiver, to me it was more
maximum out of the
unfinished product
Radioberry.
To build a transceiver. There was too much that was left out. Nice design, but if you wanted to make, let's say, a receiver with the little Raspberry Pi plugs into the back, all in one box, you don't need all those fancy filters. Maybe a high pass filter you could put in there with some I/O switching, but I never really considered it because it was too undeveloped. And 20 milliwatts output, you need a small amplifier for that 20 milliwatts to bring it up to a sufficient enough power for these Chinese amplifiers.
Yeah, Roger, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. That little amplifier that brings it up, it keeps destroying itself.
Are you talking about different amplifiers?
For that 20. So which mini amplifier did you get? What is the output? It's only like 2-3 watts, if I'm not mistaken. It's broadbanded. Am I not mistaken? And they're cheap. 15, $20 for something decent. How much drive? You got to make sure that it's within the specifications, but there's no control for that.
That's right. I put an attenuator. I have an attenuator, 40 dB attenuator, and it's 150 milliwatts maximum out of the Radio Berry, not 20, 150. Over.
Okay, all right, yeah, that's cool.
You should be able to get that up to a couple watts pretty easy.
The little amplifier too, before it goes in to the Chinese amp.
No, the Chinese amp is a little 2-watt amplifier, and it takes almost nothing to drive it. So I have a attenuator in there because you get I believe it's 150 milliwatts or so out, and it works. If I plug the antenna in, it does it. I have actually wind up with 3 amplifiers because I have the little amplifier that amplifies the Radio Berry. Then I have another amplifier, which I'm using right now with the Hermes, and that takes that one has a little bit adjustable input, and you can and I'm running about 3 watts or so, and that drives that to about 15 watts, and that drives the 8877. But unfortunately, that little amplifier, they're $10 or so. For some reason, they seem to be self-oscillating. So I gotta do some research on that. My friend has one. He uses it every morning. He has the Radio Berry. Works, sounds good. And right now I'm using Thetis. I like Thetis. So this is W4NHA. And what's the handle there?
Mike wants to get.
You got 3 of us in here. You got Richie, and I'm Mike, N2LYM.
Yeah, there's different drive levels for those little amps. You just make sure 150 is not too much for the one you have. And another thing is, when you're not transmitting, is that 150 milliamps still putting output? Is it a constant 150 milliamp out? Milliwatt out? Not milliamp, milliwatt. Is it a constant output, or only when you put it into transmit?
I'm not driving that little amp with 150 milliwatts. I have a 40 dB between coming out of the Radio Berry and going to that little amplifier. 40 dB attenuator between the two, so it's getting very little drive to that amplifier.
What's the output of the Radio Berry?
40 dB. I wouldn't think you get anything, but all right. I don't know.
Yeah, the output of Radio Berry, there's another fella in there. It's 150 milliwatts.
All right, so you got 150 milliwatts. Take it off 10 dB at a time. 15 milliwatts, 0.15 milliwatts, 0.015 milliwatts. So it's like a milliwatt and a half, right?
Yeah, it's 100. Oh yeah. So you mean with the 40? Yeah. I think it takes like some. It's real low for these little amplifiers. And almost nothing to drive them.
Well, I have a stupid question.
Just build a little amp. Good, Rich.
On the output of the attenuator before you keep driving that amplifier into explosion? Are you verifying that that attenuator is actually doing what it's supposed to? Do you have a meter that can read that?
I don't even have that. I don't even have any input. I keep telling you, it's self-oscillating. I don't even have any input. Don't even have it hooked to the radio, Barry. And when I touch the relay on there, it self-oscillates.
Are you terminating the input when you do that?
Yeah, there's nothing on the input.
Yeah, that's a problem. Put a 50 ohm load on the input.
You doubled a little bit, Frank. Mike is telling you need a 50 ohm load on the input.
No, I don't. Just the 40 dB attenuator. That's it.
All right, I'm back, guys. KB2 UKA, I'm back.
Yeah, well, a 40 dB attenuator probably give you enough termination here, but you can't let the input just flap in the breeze.
Roger. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. If it's hooked up to the radio, Barry, or if it isn't hooked up, it does that. And I've let it get away from me by yesterday. I'm trying to trying to test it, and I don't understand it, but someday I'll get it, I guess. I kind of like the Hermes because I haven't had any trouble with that.
Yeah, Roger. Hey, good evening, Doug.
Hey, Mike. Hey, Richie. And hello to the other station. I stepped away for a little bit, but I'm back. Hope you guys are doing well.
Yeah, I try not to buy anything Chinese if I could help it.
Yeah, Roger.
You should make yourself a little push-pull amplifier.
Yeah, you're right. That's what I need. I have a little one here that I built. It's not finished, but it's actually I used it. Do you remember years ago there was a thing called a Minima?
A minimal? No, I can't say I do. What, you talking about, like a QRP rig?
Yeah, Minima. You know the guy that made the Bittix and the U-Bittix? He came up with this Minima. He just had the drawings on it. And anyway, this one fellow decided to make boards. And I got some boards, kind of experimenting with them, and I built that thing. And then it had very low output. And I built this little amplifier, and I never finished it, but
is my FTDX 101 MP.
Yeah, I went to Ham Radio Outlet in Salem, New Hampshire.
But that Minima.
Oh, copper is almost better than gold.
You got to put a low pass on the output because they generate products when they operate. Push-pull, you don't have to deal with the second harmonic. The third one's the killer.
KB2 UKA, I got a QSY for 1 second. Be back.
Oh, that's right.
I posted it.
There's Doug.
I just now posted it when I said that. I forgot to post it. Like I posted it.
If it stamp it said now, Dom, you better right.
Right?
Well, I went to 7214 first, KB2 UKA. And Mike, I know you're in there, but you're real light on me. How's everyone doing?
Good, Doug. Good evening.
hello. Hope everyone's doing marvelous. Had a nice day today. I'm nice and sunburnt.
Hey, being that everybody's on here now, I'm going to switch over to the Wyndham. It knocks my monitor out on this frequency for some reason now, but I'm gonna give it a try with. I think Doug might see an increase. I don't know about you guys. I'm gonna switch over. Give me a minute.
Okay, you're 5 over 9, peaking 10 over 9. So let's see what we got.
Right, this is on the Wyndham W4 DOM.
Oh, similar. The other, you didn't hit 10 on this one, and the audio was a little louder. What was the other antenna?
The other one was the Bazooka. This is the Wyndham, and I had a tree fall on it yesterday, so and it was also stretched. I resized it and everything, put it back up. But yeah, this is tuned down at around 3,700. So is the Bazooka, but for some reason the Bazooka just, I think everybody has said the audio seems punchier on the Bazooka.
Audio seems punchier. You were 5 over 9 that whole time. You hit 10 right at the end for a second. So yeah, I think the Bazooka's stronger, at least up here.
Right. And what about you, Dwayne?
Right now, I have it as a tie. From what I'm seeing, I can't really tell the difference between the two.
All right, Art. What do you think?
Yeah, so, when you were on the Bazooka, there was some 30s. You were hitting 30, and right now every transmission's been 20.
Yeah, and Mike? I missed it. This is the Wyndham, and I'm going to switch back over to the Bazooka. I'm just looking at the differences between the two antennas, multi-band versus monoband. And I think, and let me ask you, Art, real quick, do you think the audio sounded stronger on the Bazooka?
I think so, yeah. There just seems to be more lift, 100%.
It's amazing how that works. All right, Mike, you got a good spot on me? All right, this is back on the double Bazooka W4 DLS. All
right, so on the Bazooka, you were hitting about 10, 12 over. On Wyndham, 15, almost hitting 20.
Oh, wow. And you, Art?
Well, I spotted you with my mouse pointer, and now you just passed the mouse pointer, so about 22, 25 over.
And the audio brightened up?
I say so. I think I'm hearing a little more of the effects. The effects come through better on this antenna.
Yeah, I get that. I got a lot of reports like that the last time when I messed around between the two antennas. All right, and I'm going to reach up to Doug and then Dwayne. How about you, Doug?
Yeah, I think the band changed because right before the Wyndham at the end, you were solid 10 over. Now you're 5 over. So it did a flip-flop, which if it did a flip-flop, maybe Dwayne's correct and it's actually tied. I don't know. I think because you have to tune it, you can't A/B it quick enough.
I know. I got to drop down and key up one time and let it tune. All right, thanks, guys. And Dwayne, you already gave me it, right? You said it was about the same.
Yeah, I have it tied here. You're 5 over, then you hit to 10. You go back to 5 over, and both antennas identical signal.
All right.
Hey,
I'm going to try it later on when it peaks out, when the sun's finally down. All right, guys, I appreciate it.
And just one more question. What about the legs, the orientation? Is it the same from antenna to antenna?
Almost. The Wyndham is more northeast or northeast, and the Bazooka is north. It's slightly different, and there's a height difference. The Wyndham's up to 65 feet, 65 feet. This antenna's only up about 30 feet.
Man, this guy is really splattering. This is the worst I've heard it so far. This guy's really bad here on 95.
He's not really coming up here that much. Is he near you?
Yeah, he's in four-land. He's not too far, apparently. That's why I'm getting the blunt of it.
Hey, Dom, how's your receive on both antennas? Are they the same?
No, I can see on the Wyndham, it's like Doug's signal dropped off. Yours stood about the same. And so when you said it was about the same, I wasn't surprised. Art's signal dropped down when I went over to the Wyndham, and like he noticed on me. And then Mike stood about the same. Just weird. It's an inverted V, so it has it doesn't have as much direction to it as the Wyndham does. The Wyndham is more or less northeast, southwest. The Bazooka is more or less all around, but you could see there was a difference between you and Mike and Art and Doug.
Yeah, Mike, that could be tough. Well, it's Saturday evening, and I already don't want to go to work on Monday.
The ground, the very end of the tuning stub, they're probably about 15 feet off the ground. Mike put up a rope for me in that same tree. I need to transfer it over to the other rope, which it would definitely bring it up about 20 feet higher, and it'll put me just under the Wyndham, and I can get those ends, and then I'll get those ends up higher, and that may make a difference too. But that'll be later on here when I clear a path back to the rope.
Well, this may be the time for a doublet, Dom.
I don't want to run any ladder lines. Look at a tree fell on my blooming antenna.
Yeah, I saw. I did see. Well, you have the space there. You have the room, and you have the tower up, don't you?
No, it's not completed yet. I'm saving up some money. I got to get some feed line, and I'm getting a beam for 2 meters and an omnidirectional. I have the pulleys I need to put on there so I can bring the bazookas. There's going to be a 40 meter and an 80 meter bazooka off of the tower, and the wind is going to stay where it is. If I do that, if I put up a doublet, it'll have to be where this Wyndham is, and I hate to give up the Wyndham, because it works so well for me through the band. But if I did it, I would do it where the Wyndham is, because there's a clearing between that tree and my back porch, so I could run the ladder line. The tree is 60 feet away, and then the antenna's up 60 feet, so I don't know how much ladder line I can squeeze in there. But I'll probably run it to the back deck and then bring it in with coax from there. And the coax would be less than 20 feet. Less than 20 feet, so that shouldn't be bad.
All right, yeah, that should work out quite nicely. KB2 UKA at the top of the hour.
W4 DOM.
W3 DEP.
N4 QNT.
All right, gentlemen, what are the big plans for tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow will be a rest day. We're just going to rest, do some Sunday sauce, and just eat like a big pig.
Good. I plan on doing that also. We have clouds tomorrow, and it's going to clear up not until 3 o'clock. But Jillian has, she closes out one of her shows tomorrow, so we got to go see a show, so that should take care of the clouds.
And I have a birthday party to go to tomorrow, so I'll eat like a pig.
I'll be right back, guys. Phone call, N4QNT.
I gotta go down the hall. I'll be right back. WB40.
All right, you came up a little on me, Mike. You're hitting S8, but you're like a 4x8. 4x8. Oh, maybe he doesn't even hear me.
Yeah, Doug, you're up to 15 over now, so you increased by 5.
Yep, I've got U15 also. I don't know. The band's, I think the band's a little bit longer.
You're coming up now. I still got a lot of daylight over here, so 75 is not totally open, but I can hear you now better.
Yeah, you're right. I just looked out the window. It's still daylight out. Oh, God. Yeah, so probably in like when's the sunset? 8:40?
Somewhere around there, I guess. But you're S9, man. Your signal came way up, so the band is still shifting, and I can hear you great now.
Yep, same here. You just hit S9. Beautiful. You're on the, what are you on? The DX Commander?
Yes, sir.
It's a beautiful thing. That should play real well for me and you because of the takeoff angle, which on 80 meters, it's not as low as everything else. It's still going to be higher.
Well, yeah. So the apex is on the inverted L is, I guess it's about 20 feet, and then it swings across to the tree. So that's where it's at for the inverted L for 80 and 75 meters.
All right, cool. Well, it's working. It's working just fine. It's making it all the way up here. I'll be in Florida on the 22nd, Disney.
Oh, well, I take it you're not driving this time.
I am. Well, that was 2 years ago. I am never doing that again.
Yeah, man. When I drove up over the Christmas holiday, man, I haven't drove in. It had to be at least maybe 15 years, I would say. But when I drove up there, man, that was a trip, and then driving back down was an adventure too. But I made it.
You went to the Bronx, right?
Yes, I was in the Bronx.
Yeah, so you didn't have to. I don't think you had to hit the Belt Parkway because you stayed on the other side. Man, that drive home. It's the second day of the drive home, and for me, it's home. For you, it's not home, right? So we finally get back to New York. I get off the Verrazano Bridge, and I'm on the Belt Parkway. Now another friggin' 2 hours. 2 hours before I was able to get to the LIE.
Parkway is a trip. I wish it was another way you could have went, but man, sorry to hear that. You must have came like during rush hour or something. You have to time your trips next time to come, later in the night when there's not that much traffic.
Yeah, man. At that point, it was just get up and go, and whatever time we got here. We got here. KB2 UK, I got to step away for a minute. There's a possibility I'm not coming back. So if I don't come back, 73, everyone. Good to hear you.
Roger, yeah. That's why I always time my trips to when I hit the Cross Bronx or the GWB. It's usually in the late evenings or, late night or during the early morning rush. When everybody's going the opposite way, I'm coming in inbound. So I usually do it that way. All right, Doug. Well, the band is still up and down. You were S8 on that last over, but it should be improving shortly. I'm gonna go get me some more water, and I will be right back. You gonna be around?
All right. Well, I think I'm getting out of here. So, Dwayne, Mike, anyone else, Art, Dom, if you're back, 73 guys, I got to go run upstairs. KB2 UK, good talk with you. I'll catch you in the morning.